The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to the apostles, "Who among you would say to your servant who has just come in from plowing or tending sheep in the field, 'Come here immediately and take your place at table'? Would he not rather say to him, 'Prepare something for me to eat. Put on your apron and wait on me while I eat and drink. You may eat and drink when I am finished'? Is he grateful to that servant because he did what was commanded? So should it be with you. When you have done all you have been commanded, say, 'We are unprofitable servants. We have done what we were obliged to do.'" The Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I must admit I struggle with what to say with regard to these readings today. Nothing wrong with them. They're good readings. And setting aside a little of the cultural bias in Paul's letter, it's really sound advice. It's advice, really, that our culture needs to hear about temperance and not slandering and controlling oneself and being a model of dignity and sound speech. You know, all of those things are great advice. And basically, Jesus reminds us in the gospel that, well, if you just do the right thing, it's not extraordinary. You know, the saints aren't saints just because they did the right thing. They did the right thing, but there was something more that we recognized in them. And I think that's what Jesus is getting at with this. He says, you know, I think the most important line in these readings is the advice at the very end of Paul's passage here. Be eager to do what is good. I think that's the key line. The other stuff says, hey, if you want to live a good life, do these things, you know. Be honest, be temperate, be kind, be respectful. You know, do your job. Do the things you need to do for yourself and your family and our society. That's just how to live a happy life. You know, just do those things. Don't do bad things. But the key, I think, here is eagerness to do good. And that's what we recognize in the saints. Not that they just were nice people, but they had a zeal. They had something that made them go beyond just the things that Paul outlines here. They had an eagerness for holiness, an eagerness for goodness, an eagerness to serve. And that's what we all cultivate in ourselves. I mean, everyone I'm talking to here this morning is living a pretty decent life. I mean, we're not bad people, you know. We're following Paul's advice for the most part. The challenge for us is to find ways each day that we can increase our zeal, our eagerness for goodness, our eagerness for holiness. You know, and what does that look like? I think at a time like this, it looks like paying more attention to people. You know, be eager to find ways to care for one another, especially people who might be suffering at this time. If we have the resources, it's an eagerness maybe to be a little more generous for people who are without at this time. I think it's an eagerness to be more respectful, more civil, more understanding, to really have an eagerness to listen to people, to respect them, even at times when we disagree, but to be kind, to really try to see the best we can see in the people around us and encourage them rather than diminish them. I think that's what eagerness for goodness looks like now. You know, in our Ignatian world, what Paul is talking about is the magis. It's not necessarily doing more. It's saying, what will be the greatest good? What can I do in my day today that is the greater good? That is the magis. And that's what distinguishes us as Christians. We're not just nice people, we're not just good people, but we're people who seek the magis, goodness, holiness, sanctity in our lives. And we have to be proactive about that. Paul is saying, go after it. Go after it. We just celebrated all the saints. You know, we celebrate saints all the time. You know, and that's really where we're called, to the eagerness that made the saints the saints.